Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Shemi Al Shad, Shemi Kokodash, and of course, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who continue to teach us its truth. This is Nama of the DC Camp. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways. All right, delivering this truth in all sincerity and truth. All right. Hey, time is growing short. And as such, we as Israelites are in this. Not only do we have to worry about the heathens on the outside, which of course, you come to expect, but you have enemies within. All right, and in this particular case, we're talking about the so-called black woman. Hey, we'll get a lot of scriptures on that. But this particular video here, I'm going to attempt to combine a few because we're dealing with this element, this so-called black woman. Man, she is indeed our enemy. All right, this is Dr. Tommy Curry. All right, and he's going to go into this particular video here. Has to do with a program called My Brother's Keeper. All right, I had forgotten about it until this video, but it's one of these things that well, let's get hold on. Okay, in fact, let me switch this back to dark. All right, so let's deal with that. All right, now let's go here. It says My Brother's Keeper Initiative. It says President Barack Obama announces the launch of My Brother's Keeper, maintain, strengthen effective youth programs, included are youth facts, funding, information, and tools to help you assess community assets. In other words, this is just for, it says the goal is to close opportunity gaps for boys and young men, as it says under the Philly Charter, of color, and create measurable change for youth. Okay, we know that it's by and large Christian based. They're actually trying to put you back in that sunken place. All right, and we're actually trying to bring you up out of that. All right, but the thing is, it represents order. And as you're going to see, man, your so-called sister. Let's go ahead and get into it because for time's sake, I'm going to try to let as much of this play and not interfere so you can hear and understand what's going on. So here we go.
I'm ready to just lay out. It's ridiculous. But anyway, that said, like, share, subscribe, join, and donate. Support the channel if you will, so we can keep bringing you independent black male content. Dr. Thunder, what's going on, man? Prince Turner, what's up? Aries, ready. Yeah. So, so this was sent to me. And this is actually a video from 2017, but I thought it was interesting, and I thought it deserved a response. What's up, Kiel? Y'all know what to do. You can see, all the ways to support the channel. I hope you do. Most particularly, check out either the Cash App, the Super Chat, or Patreon, where you can go ahead and support the Institute for Black Male Studies, as well as the Onyx Report in one fell swoop every month. Appreciate that support, Black Man Swimming. So anyway, this is a video. It's an interview that takes place on a YouTube channel called The Laura Flanders Show, where Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw, founder of the concept of intersectionality, is being interviewed about that concept, and she has some comments. Now, even though this is 5 years old, I've still heard feminists to this day use similar examples in frustration about the very idea of My Brother's Keeper. So I thought I would take a moment today to kind of point out this kind of behavior to brothers and kind of give you my thoughts about it. Hopefully, it might be of use to you if you hear similar kinds of arguments, but more than that, just in how we even conceptualize black men getting some kind of help. And this is the fundamental flaw in what I hear in this. So what I'll do is play a couple minutes of it, um, and you can see where I'm coming from with it. I don't know how long I'm going to be on tonight, but that is Laura Flanders on one end and Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw on another. And let's hear what she has to say. Almost got me this time. Now I'm ahead of the game and got my sound together. See? Getting better. Getting better. You know, people have whole staffs to control this kind of thing normally. But anyway, that said, here is the last well, we'll see how many minutes of this I'll play. But here we go.
So that's the positive scenario. I want to end there.
Keep forgetting I listen to everything on high speed, but here you go.
But I do just have to ask you about the other. There have been so many pitfalls that we've fallen into as a people over the centuries, and one of them has been divide and conquer. If, for example, I don't know, Donald Trump decides white men need a program, like My Brother's Keeper, only for white males, what do we do? And what about those white women who will say, yes, that is a good way to use public funding?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we have got to be able to have a language that points in the direction of the problem, not the representation or the person, right? That's actually the problem with the existing My Brother's Keeper, program. It's not a program that is based on problems created by sexism, the problems created by white supremacy, the problems created by neoliberalism, the problems created by withdrawing public resources from all public institutions. Instead, it creates this narrative that this particular person needs help. And so our failure to be able to challenge that makes it that much more difficult for us to challenge the versions of it that could well come out of a Trump administration. I think that being able to be far more literate on what actually the social conditions are across race and across class, with an awareness of the ways that race and class exacerbate some of these issues, gives us a platform to say, well, now let's really look at what are all of the ways that working women are not going to be served by this. What are all the ways that non-working people are going to not be served by this? What are the ways that moving in this direction actually recreates that expectation that the way certain members of our population are experiencing a crisis is all that we need to be concerned about, and everyone else is in a position to receive trickle-down social justice. And we know trickle-down social justice doesn't work, and in case we need some examples, here they are from history.
Fucking demon.
Thanks so much, Kimberly.
Fucking
Now,
demon.
if you missed that, and I would completely understand if you did, you might even have to play it again because she used a lot of veiled language. She took a question that was actually directed toward white men and Trump. Now, remember, this interview takes place in 2017. And so the host's concern is, what if Trump decides to foreground white men in terms of policy and give them something directly for them, like My Brother's Keeper. Now, keep in mind, My Brother's Keeper wasn't just for black men, it's for black and brown men, which I took issue with because, we keep tap dancing around the needs of black males. But anyway, that aside, the host gives her a question that actually is specific to white men. What Crenshaw does is she flips the question and she makes it about black men. And she makes it about how black men receiving support, which, by the way, they didn't. I mean, My Brother's Keeper wasn't federally funded. It was philanthropically funded, for one. For two, black feminists led the charge to denounce the program and had a, nationwide, kind of protest against it, right? So that said, that's one thing. But
let me stop him right there because you have to understand what's going on now as far as the Hebrew Israelites are concerned. This is something that they can't control. All right, that's why you're getting this bitterness aimed at the Hebrew Israelites, specifically from who? The black woman. All right, and now you have these, for lack of a better term, sisterhood groups. What is it? Daughters of Zion, shit like this, or Daughter of Zion, Salaki, groups springing up talking about they need to be heard. You're seeing this trying to creep its way in to what we're doing. No. All right. And you shouldn't have to guess too hard with who is behind this. All right. So continuing on.
She's still upset that it even came into existence, even though there's no mention here of the White House Council for Women and Girls. That just exists. And that kind of provides you the main framework for my frustration with these types of arguments from feminists like this, right? At no point does she mention any of the kinds of set-asides and support mechanisms put in place for black women and girls, and no acknowledgement of black men and boys until My Brother's Keeper. And from there, still not very much coming out of it. No policies of any significance directed at actually improving the quality of life for black men and boys. And her framing of it is that as long as we think about this in terms of black men's needs, there's a type of social justice injustice that's occurring, where black males will be foregrounded to a way where they get all the attention and nobody else gets anything. This is her concern.
What has been going on with them?
But if we look at the last 5 years and we look at who is actually being targeted for systematic improvement, it's not black boys, it's not black men. If anything, those two groups have been pushed to the wayside.
Yep.
How much frustration, how much issue has she taken with the fact that from private philanthropy to federal resources to local regional resources directed specifically at black women and girls, how much issue has she taken with any of that in regard to what boys and men haven't gotten? I told you guys this before. To my knowledge, there's 2 programs in the country that are targeted at black males. One in Chicago, which is still being kind of stymied by the mayor, which would provide monthly resources to actually kind of, it's really kind of a test to see if crime would lessen if people had means, right? And the other program, I did a show on a while back, I forget the framework. It was a program designed for helping black male entrepreneurs, but only one black male gets it. Those are the only 2 programs that I'm familiar with in the country directed at actually black males.
Damn shame.
Whether we're talking about the small business support in 2020 and onward for black women entrepreneurs, whether we're talking about resources for single mothers that are mainly city-based but happening in a variety of cities across the country, or whether we're talking about programs coming out.
So as a result of what he just said, you can see who has been and always has been targeted, and it's what? To keep us, Psalms 83, to keep us specifically from becoming a nation. All right, so now that's enough of that one. I'm going to go to the second one. Here we go. And let me say this. Now you understand when we say that the so-called black woman is the right hand, hell, I'll even say arm of white supremacy. Now do you begin to understand? All right. She's all about me, I. All right. And this wicked ass system supports that. They will support her all the way. All right. Because they know what the fuck they're doing. Before he starts, let me get a couple of scriptures here. Hey, we got to bring this one out. This is Micah chapter 7, verse 10. It never gets old. Then she that is mine enemy, and she shows it every fucking day, shall see it, and shame shall cover her which said unto me, where is the Most High Yahweh of thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the street. You can see it says, and how and thou wilt see her that is mine enemy, and cover her with shame. All right. Let's go to Psalms 109 and 29. It says, let mine adversaries be clothed with shame, and that will include her. Hey, because it's coming down crunch time now. All right. And these Edomites, these so-called white people, with the economy being in a state that is in, certain things are happening. You're seeing shootings spring up all over the place. You just saw in Buffalo what happened. Hey, they're coming after. Hey, you know what? These people that have been voted in, by and large, who did that? Look at this damn president that's currently in office. By the numbers, who did that? That was Jake. All right. You know, talking about Trump, blah, blah. Okay. First and foremost, this is not about us. This does not concern us, but we somehow continue to buy into the bullshit. All right, that somehow things are going to change when they never have. And it doesn't appear that our people will accept the fact that it never will. So they're going to continue to be taken advantage of every election cycle. So we just got to get out here. Let me finish this. Let mine adversaries be clothed with shame, and let them cover themselves with their own confusion as with a mantle. And this is what's happening to this so-called black woman, your sister. All right. Let's say Jeremiah 51:51. We are confounded because we have heard reproach. Shame hath covered our faces, for strangers are coming to the sanctuaries of the Most High Yahweh's house. All right. And she will listen to anybody but her own. You got to understand, the so-called black woman was not raised up to be a wife in this society on purpose. That's why we always come back to this, because what's that book? What's the Miseducation of the Black Woman or some shit like that? But you look at any other woman, and how can you not tell that there's something particularly strange about the so-called black woman when it comes to male-female relations? We're a laughing stock. For now, you got to remember, Lamentations, hell, well, you know, if I had time, we could just go into that. It's talking about, you know, as a nation, but you can use that to talk about individuals too. All right. Because she went to her so-called lovers, and her chief so-called lover is a so-called white man, the Edomite. That's who she is really in love with. All right, you see how she is when she gets with, in particular, a so-called white man. You don't hear all that bantering back and forth like you see, you know, Jake's when he's out with so-called black woman. That, you know, there's that enmity. I have to use that word. All right, between them, they just can't. But with anybody else, she's what's the expression you should use? She's good as gold. She's on her best behavior. All right, let's continue. Let's speed this up a little bit.
Divide and conquer. If, for example, I don't know.
I might get out and hit the mic after this.
Yeah, I'm going to set this up. What happened here is, for you, that the woman that's being interviewed, the so-called black woman, this happened right after the Central Park incident back in '87. I think it was Central Park 5. Just to let you know what's going on here.
Raise my energy up. I'm ready to just lay out. Ridiculous. But anyway, That said, like, share, subscribe, join, and donate.
I apologize for the, it's a little dark. I have don't understand why. Let's see. Let me, let's see what I can do about that. If it'll work at all. Let's see. Okay, let's try it. Nope.
Support the channel if you will.
Sorry.
Keep bringing you independent black male content. Dr. Thunder, what's going on, man? French Turner, what's up? Darius, Freddie. Yeah. So, so this was sent to me. And this is actually a video from 2017, but I thought it was interesting. And I thought it deserved a response. What's up, Kiel? Y'all know what to do. You can see, all the ways to support the channel like what we do. Most particularly, check out either the Cash App, the Super Chat, or Patreon, where you can go ahead and support the Institute for Black Male Studies, as well as the Onyx Report in one fell swoop every month. Appreciate that support, Black Man Swinging. So anyway, this is a video. It's an interview that takes place on a YouTube channel called the Laura Flanders Show, where one Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw, founder of the concept of intersectionality, is being interviewed about that concept, and she has some comments. Now, even though this is 5 years old, I've still heard feminists to this day use similar examples in frustration about the very idea of My Brother's Keeper. So I thought I would take a moment today to kind of...
Wait a minute, hold on. I didn't see that coming. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay.
Actually, a justice movement of sorts. It's part of it. So the primary argument of black males being a source of distraction from real justice, right, by usurping too much of the attention, goes back to the show that we had about a week ago, where Green Gorilla and I talked about black male privilege. What she's basically arguing that black men getting attention is a form of black male privilege and contributes to an oppressive system that further denies black women work. So the answer, in her assessment and others like her, is to ignore black men and boys. And when there is preferential treatment in regard to resources being extended only to black females of any age, silence on anybody else in the community, most particularly, again, black males. That's the only acceptable method as far as feminists like her are concerned, for how there needs to be any type of distributive justice. It needs to be primarily framed at black females. And that's it. So it's really a problem in that respect, because we have to start calling this out. Shout out to Durante Swing, appreciate that support. Xavier, appreciate that. He says, tune in for the first time live in Charlotte, North Carolina. We appreciate you, Doc. You're doing your thing. Much appreciated. Right? Black Man Swimming, if I didn't thank you for that, appreciate it. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. What's up, Dardar? This is, and we need to be able to identify this. Because again, it's only in that black men have demanded to be heard using whatever mechanisms we could to do so. Because we've not been offered any major platforms. But we've taken to social media, an option that didn't exist 30, 40 years ago. So in those kinds of situations, we were often silent. And we had very few avenues except for entertainment, comedy, music, and sometimes you had an artist that would come through and try to say a few words. Every now and again. But a lot of those brothers were not equipped to deal with the likes of people like Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw. I mean, if she starts intersectionality as a concept in '89, what was going on in '89 for black men? In terms of voicing our issues and being heard, especially in regard to this kind of feminist presentation of the black world as something oppressive to women and girls, is where you have these men walking around in families going out their way to kill black women en masse. These are the stereotypical notions about black men that became popular in the late 70s and 80s, and were gaining steam as the primary way mainstream culture should look at black men. and we didn't have very many avenues of response. So you had your Eddie Murphys, you had your Richard Pryors, you had some of the comedians that would drop a word here or there about how they've been treated, how they've been perceived.
Yeah, but that's just entertainment. Surely you really don't suffer these things, and that's the way it's treated. That's what he's going into. But for some reason, I apologize. I was trying to get this second video, even though that was on time. What happened there? It further explained. But let's go back to this one. I don't know. Let's see.
Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Black Male Studies. Oh, he called me the LeBron. Okay.
Wait a minute.
Quite some time. But what Dr. Curry has figured out is that those accusations are actually based on earlier white ethnologists like Samuel Cartwright.
Hold on.
1857.
Yeah, here's the one. Here's the one.
Dardar.
Salakia.
Like, share, subscribe, join, and donate.
Okay.
We'll support the channel so we can continue to bring you independent black male thought and content. It doesn't have to be filtered through corporate or politically correct means. Y'all know what it is. So, last few days have been pretty crazy, pretty busy. And brothers have been sending me all kinds of stuff that, just been interesting. Stories, articles, videos, you name it. All kinds of stuff has been dropping lately, especially in light of Father's Day. And I'm seeing black men fighting for themselves, fighting for their presence in a way I've never seen before. And I salute it. I really do. But it's time to do what we got to do. We got to put this information out. We got to think about things and challenge convention in ways that we may never have prior. Okay? So that said, these are some of the things. Let me show you. This is what some of the brothers have been sending me very recently. And they've been asking me about what this is all about, right? So in the last few months alone, 2022 has been pretty unique. We had first in February, Black Her Story Month, right? Unique event, kind of different. Not the typical Black History Month we, are normally acquainted with. And that was quickly followed up with Women's History Month. And of course, in the midst of all of that, you also had Mother's Day. And we had Pride Month, which is, fairly female leaning in the midst of it all, or at least feminine leaning. And then you had Juneteenth. And one of the things that was brought to my attention, and I've had several brothers, some of whom are professors themselves, sending me picture after image, after TV show, after video, where you see this kind of solipsistic, self-referencing, right, of black women by black women, right? And of course, this is followed up by the infamous and now consistent argument every year about who Father's Day belongs to. And that's what a lot of this was sparked by. Appreciate the support, Uneducated. He says, I'm on East Coast and not going to make it through this one. This is for the collection plate. Much appreciated. Yeah, I don't plan to go this late very often, but I did want to get one in today, at the very least, even though it's running late. But I appreciate that support. So, as you can see on the screen, these were just...
Salakia, I apologize. What I'm going to end up having to do for time's sake is just go ahead and make another video with just this one, all right? Because by the time he explains this, hey, Jake got a short attention span. But I tried to do both, but there was a mix up there with the other one going dark. I couldn't really tell what I was doing. So with that said, hey, until the next video, shalom.